Welcome back to our virtual biology class. I hope it's been an amazing journey. In the lesson of today, we will be looking at the body's control and balance of the internal environment. We will be looking at a very important concept in biology which is called homeostasis. In this lesson, we will dive deeply into this concept and how the body regulates itself for better functioning. Come along with me as we explore. The outline of this lesson include the concept of homeostasis, parts involved in homeostasis, description and function of the kidney in homeostasis, identification of the liver and its position relative to other organs around it, the structure of the mammalian skin and its function or roles in homeostasis, factors affecting the functioning of the kidney and factors affecting the functioning of the liver, the diseases of the kidneys and their remedies, and also the diseases of the liver and their remedies. So let's get started. Homeostasis is a key concept in understanding how our body works. It means keeping things constant, and it comes from two Greek words, homeo meaning similar and stasis meaning stable. Homeostasis is the characteristics of our system to regulate its internal environment and tend to maintain a stable, relative constant condition of properties. Homeostasis is happening constantly in our bodies. When we eat, sweat, drink, dance, eat some more, eat salty fries, and yet our body composition remains fairly constant. If your blood sample is taken at 10 different times within the month, the level of glucose, sodium, red blood cells, and other blood components would be pretty much constant, regardless of what you eat, even if you were fasting. No matter how much water you drink, your body doesn't swell up like a balloon, and it doesn't shrink if you drink less water either. Have you ever pondered on this? Maintenance of body size is another example of homeostasis, even without us thinking about it. That is simply amazing, right? There are other examples of homeostasis in our body. For example, the concentration of salt, glucose, or sugar is constant. Our body temperature is usually around 37 degrees Celsius or 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. The amount of blood in our body is about 5 liters, and the osmolarity, that is the number of solute of our blood, remains about 300 msm. So, in simple terms, homeostasis is the maintenance of a fairly constant internal environment in an organism, and the parts involved in homeostasis include the kidneys, the liver, the skin, the ductless glands and hormones, and lastly, the brain, which controls all activities. Let us look at homeostasis or osmoregulation in unicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms such as amoeba and paramecium possess contractile vacuole, which enable them to carry out osmoregulation. The cell content of these animals is hypertonic to the external medium. That is, their bodies is higher in concentration than the body medium where they found themselves. Hence, water enters them by osmosis into the cytoplasm and then into the contractile vacuole. In order to prevent the cell from being over-turgid and bursting, the contractile vacuole discharges its contents from time to time, thereby maintaining water balance within the organism. We will now look at the structure of the kidney and the function of the kidney. Now, the structure of the kidney have been extensively explained under the concept of excretion. So, I would advise you to go back to the topic excretion to learn more about the structure of the kidney. Now, the function of the kidneys in homeostasis include the following: osmoregulation, acid-base balance, and urine formation. We'll take this function one after the other. Osmoregulation. Osmoregulation is defined as the process whereby an animal regulates the balance between water and salt in its body fluid. The body does not have room for excess or shortage of water or salt. Hence, there is a need to always maintain the level of salt and water in our body fluid. The kidney carry out this osmoregulation in man. When the osmotic concentration of the blood is higher than that of the cell content, this can be by means of sugar, mineral salts, amino acid, and other plasma solutes. The kidney extracts these substances from the blood or body cells and absorb more water to dilute them. When these substances are present in small amounts in the blood, it creates a higher osmotic pressure in the body cells, thus decreasing the osmotic concentration of the blood, resulting to the kidney extracting more water than usual. An hormone come into play called antidiuretic hormone. By the action of antidiuretic hormone ADH, more concentrated urine is produced, thus keeping the osmotic concentration of the blood and the cells fairly constant. Maintenance of acid-base balance. The kidneys also maintain the acid-base balance in the body. When the body fluid becomes acidic, that is, when the concentration of the acid becomes more than the concentration of the bases in our blood, some acid is excreted by the kidney within the urine. Excessive loss of bases is also prevented at the same time by the kidney. If the concentration of the base becomes higher, more salt will be excreted with the urine, thereby maintaining acid-base balance. Another function of the kidney is urine formation in the process of excretion. The kidneys are also involved in the removal of metabolic waste products from the body in form of urine. This process involved in the formation of urine occurs in three phases, which are ultrafiltration, selective reabsorption, and hormonal secretion. Now, we have dealt more about this process of urine formation under the topic excretion. So I would also advise you to watch the video on excretion to learn more about this process of urine formation. Now let's talk about conditions affecting the functioning of the kidney. There are diverse conditions or factors that may affect the functioning of our kidneys. These factors include environmental temperature, drugs, habitat, and diseases. Environmental temperature. The temperature of the environment affects the functioning of the kidneys. On a cold day, you would have noticed that there is every tendency to urinate more often than we do on hot days. This is because there are three outlets for water to be released by the body: through the kidney, through the skin by sweating, and through the lungs by expiration. On hot days, much water is lost by sweating, meaning the kidneys will be doing less of filtering of blood on a hot day. On a cold day, very little or no water is lost by sweating. Under this condition, the kidneys are under stress as they have to remove excess water, salt, and other waste products from the body. Drugs is another thing that affects the kidneys. Most drugs taken by human beings affect the functioning of the kidney. Among the essential drugs which affect the kidneys are diuretics. Diuretics are drugs that are usually taken in patients having diuresis to get rid of excess water out of the body. Another factor that affects the kidney is the habitat of the organisms. In freshwater habitat, for example, the animals live in an environment which is hypotonic to their body fluid. That is, the fluid is more concentrated than the water environment. As a result, freshwater animals experience a constant inflow of water into their body. The freshwater animals are able to solve this problem of excess intake of water by excreting salts and other nitrogenous waste through the urine. This maintains a normal salt and water balance in their bodies. In marine habitats, however, the animals live in an environment which is hypertonic to their body fluid. That is, their body fluid is less concentrated than their surrounding water environment. As a result, marine animals experience constant outflow or loss of water to the surrounding saline or salty water. These marine animals are able to solve this problem of loss of water by either reabsorbing of urea back into the blood, thereby leading to an increase in the body salt and making the fluid to have a higher concentration. Or they could drink plenty of salt water so that the concentration of the blood is raised. Lastly, diseases affect the functioning of the kidneys. Diseases such as nephritis, kidney stone, diuresis, dropsy, and so on can affect the normal functioning of the kidneys. We will look at these diseases, their descriptions, effects, and remedies as we go on in this lesson. Diseases of the kidney. Kidney stones. Kidney stones is caused by some diseased outgrowth within the tuberous. This diseased outgrowth may narrow urine passage, thus reducing free flow of urine. In most cases, the disease outgrowth may block the urine passage, making the removal of urine extremely difficult. The effects of these kidney stones include obstruction to the passage of urine, experiencing of pain on passing out urine, severe abdominal pain is also experienced. Then it leads to high blood pressure, fever, chills, and presence of blood in the urine. Another disease of the kidney is diuresis. Diuresis is a condition in which the cells of the kidney tubules are not reabsorbing water from the glomerulus filtrate. As a result, a large amount of water is passed out in urine. Diuresis can also occur from a patient suffering from diabetes insipidus, a condition in which the production of antidiuretic hormone becomes reduced. As a result, less water is reabsorbed and the patient produces a lot of urine, about 5 to 20 liters per day. The effects of this diuresis include excretion of large amount of urine, loss of weight. It also leads to emaciation, and there is high thirst for a lot of water. Let's look at nephritis. Nephritis is a condition of the blood vessels in the Bowman's capsule which becomes inflamed and porous, as a result of which they cannot carry out the functioning of ultrafiltration completely. This will result in the passage of most of the useful materials in the blood fluid with the urine. Nephritis can also be caused by bacterial infection. Effect of nephritis: it causes inflammation of the kidneys. There is presence of amino acid in the urine. It leads to weakness of the body, fever, and pain. Remedies to kidney stones: surgery called nephrectomy can be performed. This involves the opening up of the kidneys to remove the stones. There can also be use of drugs that can dissolve the stones. Patients should avoid excess intake of calcium, which could precipitate to form stones. The patient should ensure to drink lots of water, and there should be reduction in the intake of proteins. Remedies to glomerulonephritis: the use of dialysis machine, which is an artificial kidney that can be adopted to take over the work of the normal kidney. There can also be kidney transplant. The diseased kidney can be replaced with an healthy one. Then lastly, use of antibiotics. Antibiotics can be used especially if the nephritis is caused by a bacteria. Remedies to diuresis: drugs such as diuretics should be administered to get rid of excess water in the body. Also, surgical operation could be performed on the patient. Now let's go on and look at the liver. The liver is one of the vital organs of the body of mammals. Its average weight is about 1.25 kg. The liver lies below the diaphragm and it is located on the right side of the abdomen. It partly overlaps or covers the stomach. The liver is dark red in color and it is divided into lobes. Each lobe is also divided into smaller lobes. Associated with the liver is the gallbladder, which stores the bile, and it is connected to the duodenum by a short tube called the bile duct. The liver secretes bile, responsible for emulsification of fat, and the liver also is able to control major metabolic activities within the body. Now let's look at the functions of the liver. The liver performs numerous functions that result into homeostasis, and these include regulation of blood sugar. The liver is capable of converting excess glucose into glycogen, which is the animal starch, under the influence of an hormone called insulin. The liver also converts the stored glycogen into the glucose through the aid of another hormone called glucagon, thereby regulating the level of blood sugar. Another function of the liver is regulation of lipids. The liver regulates lipids in the blood by converting them into glucose and oxidize them to release energy during aerobic respiration. Regulation of blood proteins. The body cells cannot store excess amino acid in the body. The liver therefore deaminates these amino acids. Deamination is simply the process by which excess amino acid are splitted into two components, the amino group and the carboxyl group. The amino group which is poisonous and toxic to the body, is converted into harmless substance called urea and excreted out of the body, while the carboxyl group is processed into carbohydrate and then stored in the liver as glycogen. The breakdown of red blood cell. The liver is also responsible for the breakdown of worn out red blood cell, that is erythrocyte, in adults. After the breakdown of red blood cell, the liver in turn stores the iron component of the hemoglobin, which is in the red blood cell. So the liver also stores vitamin A, which is carotene, and also stores fat soluble vitamins A, B12, and D. Production of bile. The liver is the organ that produces or synthesizes bile, which is stored in the gallbladder. The bile formed is transported to the duodenum via the bile duct. The function of the bile is to aid the emulsification of fat, which enhance its digestion and absorption. Formation of red blood cells. In fetus, the liver is responsible for the formation of red blood cell. However, in adults, the marrows of the long bones form the red blood cells. The liver is also acting as a reservoir of blood. It contains many capillaries and blood spaces with large volume of blood. Production of essential protein. The liver helps to manufacture most of the essential blood proteins like fibrinogen, prothrombin, globulins, and so on. These proteins may play important role in the clotting of blood. Production of heat. The activities of the liver generate heat, which helps to maintain the body temperature. This is what causes shivering during cold. Lastly, another important function of the liver is detoxification. The liver helps to convert poisonous and toxic substances such as drugs, alcohol, and so on in the body into harmless substances which are excreted out of the body. Now let's look at the diseases of the liver. Number 1, diabetes mellitus. This disease is caused as a result of the inability of the liver cells to convert excess glucose in the blood into glycogen. This is as a result of the failure of the pancreas to produce a hormone called insulin. Due to this, excess sugar is left in the blood and lost through the urine. Effect of diabetes mellitus. It results to continuous dehydration. It may cause exhaustion or muscular weakness. It may lead to blurred vision, and it also leads to loss of weight. Another disease of the liver is gallstones. Gallstones are hard objects which are formed in the bile duct and block the passage of the bile. This condition is caused as a result of the precipitation of cholesterol in the gallbladder or the bile duct. This blockage then leads to obstructive jaundice, in which the skin in light complexioned people acquire a characteristic yellow appearance due to retention of bile pigment, that is bilirubin, in the blood. Effect of gallstones. Gallstones leads to yellowing of the skin and eyes. It results to inability to digest fats and oil properly, and it causes general weakness of the body. Now, infective hepatitis. This is the inflammation of the liver, which may be due to viral infection or toxic substances like poisons and drugs. As a result of this inflammation, The liver is unable to store or reconvert already stored glycogen into glucose. Effect of infective hepatitis. It leads to loss of appetite. It causes severe headache and nausea. It may lead to yellowing of the eyes and the urine. Then it leads to general weakness of the body. Cirrhosis of the liver. This is a serious liver disease in which the damaged liver cells become replaced by dead and useless fibrous tissue. As a result of this, the liver feels very firm and irregular. Cirrhosis may be caused by excessive drinking of alcohol over a long period of time, or it could be caused by hepatitis. Effect of cirrhosis. It leads to general weakness of the body. It leads to loss of appetite, and it can lead to death. Another very important disease of the liver is cancer of the liver. Cancer of the liver is a distorted form of production of liver cells. In other words, it leads to the outgrowth or uncontrollable swelling of cells which do not retain the normal functioning of the tissues in which they arise. This continuous outgrowth eventually will prevent the liver from performing its normal role. Effect of cancer of the liver. It leads to general weakness of the body. The body is exhausted and it can lead to death. Remedies to diabetes mellitus. Drugs like diabinase can be used. There must be regular doses of insulin injection taken intravenously throughout the life of a diabetic patient. Carbohydrate-rich food should also be avoided. Remedies to infective hepatitis. Drugs can be administered. Patients should be placed on special diet, and after treatment, alcohol drinking must be avoided at all costs. Remedies to gallstones. Drugs can be administered to dissolve the stone. The stones may also be dissolved by oral feeding on a bile acid, and surgical operation can be performed to remove the stones. Remedies to liver cirrhosis. Patients should avoid alcoholic drinks. Surgery may be done on the patient, and there can be liver transplants to replace the damaged liver. Remedies to the cancer of the liver. Surgery can be performed if the cancer is detected early in life. The cancer can also be destroyed by the use of radiation, a process called radiology or chemotherapy. Liver transplants may also be carried out if the liver is totally damaged. That is all I have for you in this first part of regulation of internal environment. Watch out for our new lesson on the concluding aspect of this topic, where we'll be discussing the skin and its roles in homeostasis. After the lesson, we would also be looking at quiz, that is, WAEC past questions on homeostasis. Till I come your way next time, keep reading, keep learning, and the sky will be your stepping stone. Bye.